Before getting into the guide, I'd just like to say that I'd really appreciate it and it would help me out a lot if you could subscribe. Now into the video. For Blade's traits, you want to go all red apart from 5 points in blue for a significantly reduced dash cooldown. First, we'll look at the red cards. The main ones you want to focus on are On the Hunt, Swift Edge, and Sweeping Edge. The only other red card we care about is Blade Dance for his spin. Now for the blue cards. The only two cards we care about are Night Runner and Moonblade Wrath. Night Runner for decreased dash cooldown, and Moonblade Wrath, as it's 60 blue XP, it for some reason makes it so that your spin damage gets multiplied by your Moonblade damage, just like how purple damage cards act as a damage multiplier. The purple cards we care about are Power Surge for a damage multiplier, Vitality Boost for extra health, and Moonlight Protection for damage reduction. The reason why we don't take Full Moon, at least for speedruns, is because the points that you spend on buying a Full Moon card could be better spent to help speed up the earlier rounds, which is where a lot of the time loss is. In general, you want to buy the rarer and higher cost cards over the cheaper and more common cards. This is because the higher cost and rarer cards give you more value compared to the other ones. Now we'll look at my 16-minute 28-second run on Solo Blade to see what I do, and I'll try and explain as best I can to help you guys out. So at the start here, I look for Moonblade Wrath and On the Hunt and try to dupe both of them. The On the Hunt is really important just for damage to clear zombies really fast, and the Moonblade Wrath is really important as a damage multiplier and also to help with getting them more down a lot faster. I've also seen some people in the comment section asking how this duplication thing works, and it's basically just a small chance to dupe anywhere from 1 to 5 of a random selection of cards that you already have, but as at the start we only got the 2 legendary cards that we want, it will only be able to dupe those cards as they're the only cards that are in our inventory at this point. If you don't manage to hit either a dupe, a health pack, or refund and your next 2 random rolls are free, then you won't be able to continue with this, because now you have some random cards that you probably don't want or will most likely be lower rarity, and so they won't give as much value, or they'll be completely useless if you dupe them. So what we end up having to do if we don't get enough dupes before getting some random cards is we just leave the game and start another one. And you don't get penalized for this if you don't have filled teammates on. This can be quite a bit of a pain though, as you could just get really unlucky and have to spend hours at a time without getting a single good start. Gameplay wise, it would probably be best just to watch one of my runs in full and try to pay attention to when I go from the alleyway to the front by the Avengers Tower, and where I play and how I move around the map on different key rounds. There's a card link in the top right which you can click on to watch my full run and my other runs, which explain some different stuff as well. Now here I'm going to skip to round 5. I pretty much only get the 60 and 140% on the hunts, get all of the Moonblade Wraths that I see, and I only get the 8% and higher power surges. Also buy all of the attack speed and range that you find. Make sure that if you're doing the Moonblade Wrath strategy that you get about 3 Blade Dances by this point. For wave 5 here, I pretty much just stay in the alleyway until all of the zombies are dead, making sure to only kill the squids with the spin, and since I have so much Moonblade damage, thanks to just buying a lot of it throughout the rounds and duping so much of it at the start, Namor drops down before all of the zombies are dead. And then you can just dash over to him, dash into a squid, and he will die. Now skipping to wave 10, I pretty much buy the same things, but this time I start getting more health and damage reduction compared to any of the earlier rounds. I do also misbuy a few times here, either buying cards that are lower rarity than the ones which I'd prefer to buy, or sometimes just buying the wrong card. This isn't that big of a deal as long as you're not accidentally misbuying a legendary which doesn't help you. I do also spend 30 seconds of this buy round, which is a standard buy phase for me, instead of skipping it early after just about 10 seconds of buying. I probably would have been fine to just skip it here, as I already had so much damage and everything that whatever I bought would only increase it marginally, while I could have saved an extra 20 seconds. Now on wave 20, you just want to be always spinning on Wanda and keep moving so that you don't get hit with a stun bubble. The damage that I had here was kind of insane. I'm usually aiming to one phase her, which is where she just does one shield bubble and then goes into a reality erasure phase. But here, it just goes by so ridiculously fast. And this usually doesn't happen. This is the fastest I've ever killed wave 10 Wanda, and it's probably due to just how much red, blue and purple damage I had by this point. Now skipping to wave 15, I actually didn't mean to get in the circle straight away here, so I kind of panic buy and just try and spend some points as quickly as possible by spamming random. It does cost me a death as well, just because I kind of thought I threw the run. I thought it was just kind of over, that it was going to be really slow, so at this point the nerves are kicked up into high gear, but luckily that wasn't the case. On wave 15, you want to be spinning and hitting Wanda with the spin all the time, whilst also making sure to kill every squid with the spin, as this is usually the place where you lose the most time. Normally, without using Moonblade Wrath, and with every other character, you kill Wanda, you kill all the zombies, and Namor is still in the sky. But if I realised here that I had so much Moonblade Wrath that Namor would drop ridiculously fast, I probably should have focused Wanda sooner, because I actually end up killing all of the zombies and Namor before Wanda is dead. And usually Wanda dies before Namor, so comparing the time between when Wanda dies and when Namor dies, if I focused Wanda earlier here, I could have saved 11 seconds. But again, it's something that has never happened to me before, so I wasn't prepared to do that. Jumping forward to round 18, I just wanted to show the other death that I had in my run. The first one in wave 15, which you've already seen, and then this one. And this is the last time I die in the rest of this run. And this death happens here because I tried to dash into the exploding fiery zombies, but I was too close to the sentinels and one of them hits me. This round is also really important to position correctly in, as there are a lot of throwing zombies, those being the plague and grenade ones. And so after clearing out the zombies in the alleyway at the start of the round, I go over to the Avengers Tower at the front and go on the other side of the car, so that all of the zombies spawning on the alleyway and spawn side of the map don't have direct line of sight of me, and so they have to walk over and try and walk around the car. This also means that they can't throw things and get stuck up on the ledges that they often get stuck up on when they have line of sight. Now skipping to wave 20, I only spend about 10 seconds buying, and I'm trying to just buy anything I can that's valuable as fast as possible, and it doesn't matter that much here if I accidentally buy something that won't actually help me, as I know that I'm not going to be able to spend all of my credits fast enough anyway before I get in the circle. On wave 20, you just want to be constantly spinning and trying to stay in range to hit both of the Wandas at the same time with your spin. I do also lose about 10 seconds here when both of the Wandas go into their bubble phases as they go onto opposite sides of the map, which means that when I really need to reinitiate my spin, I have to go out of range of hitting one of them just to start my spin again. Now this guide is coming to a close, so thank you for watching, and I'd really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, and feel free to ask any questions you'd like to ask me in the comments.